To be quite honest, I mean, it's the way I've thought ever since MSI. I think if we don't win Worlds, then I think it'll be Splice or Renegades. And we still have those two teams to go at the end of the SPL. So if we can beat either of those teams, I think that'll enhance confidence, I suppose. But even then, our biggest obstacle is probably, the only one that I can foresee anyway, is when that honeymoon phase drops off and we start to run into challenges.
I think as long as we're not stressed out, as long as Emilzy and Kenneth are not stressed out, they're insane players. So as long as that stress doesn't come back, I think we're good. The stress comes back, it will fail.
LG up against Pittsburgh Knights is what we've got on the card today. And let's see where everyone goes. I thought it was going to be Toli. It's going to be that set in the solo lane here. Looks like Luminosity want to try and test Row in this solo lane early on.
As they really should. He is the newcomer. He hasn't played competitively for a long time.
If I've ever seen one at the moment. Boat now on a killing spree, and PK, who at the start of this game looked a little discombobulated and unexpected of what LG would bring here, are going to take game one after a fantastic Fire Giant call.
Adapting very spicy on this Mercury. 3-1-9, a part of all of his team's 12 kills. Late game officially online, and a lot of credit to Row on that Jormungandr. This Morrigan, gotta be careful for Row though.
I remember Joshy no ultimate now because it was forced out by Emilzy moments ago. But the damage on Row is pretty susceptible, so he's gonna fall back. It did open up Snoopy to die to Adapting though, and Row's beatdown continues of Lasbra. Middle Phoenix finally falls as Deathwalker turns up. Adapting blinks to the back and gets some damage on Joshy as Row will get a double kill on Zalia. Titan's gonna fall. Pittsburgh Knights take game two.
Than the previous two games, but PK are now primed and ready to maybe even close out the game with this push.
I expected more from LG here today in this set against Pittsburgh Knights. I thought PK may have more teething problems. This team of PK have only been scrimming as a 5-man unit for the past week, and already looks like they're going to be putting LG to bed in 3 straight games.
That set was actually really easy. It felt like, I don't know if it was just them not being prepared or us just feeling too good about the set, but pretty much the whole team was confident. Everyone was happy, like going into the set. So I don't think anything could have gone wrong that set at all. I don't like, at least for me, throughout that whole set, I never felt like we were gonna lose. Even if we would lose a fight around mid in the first 5-10 minutes, like I still felt we're gonna win this no matter what, you know. I don't know, it's just, I think we were incredibly confident for the first time ever.
So we wrapped up the Luminosity games. We had a good day Friday, relaxing. We were able to watch LG take on Rival, beat them 3-2, surprising, I'll be honest. We didn't think too much of LG after we beat them, but obviously they went back and studied hard, which was impressive, and they ended up winning. Kind of, again, validated us. Means we did better than we thought we did. But realistically, we're still focused on ourselves. We have Splice and Renegades coming up in the last week of the SPL, but that's not even our focus. Obviously, World is our focus. So we're just back to focusing on ourselves and building our path towards where we think the meta will lead for Worlds, and aiming to be in the best form as possible.
Row surprised me a lot. I didn't expect him to actually play that well at first, but I mean, dare I say it, but I think he is the best Australian player in the world. I mean, has probably been for a while.
Obviously, right now I have a good KDA, but I'm realistic at the same time. I don't think that jungler came to my lane once. I had pretty easy lane matchups. Obviously, I had to play against Set, but I mean, that's people say he's the best god in the game. That can be somewhat true, but obviously I knew how to play against it. It wasn't a problem.
And I think, if anything, he might be like one of the players that plays the game the most out of us. And he has consistently played it throughout the season. It's just that I've never actually seen him play. So at first, you know, I expected him to do fine, but I didn't expect him to like be, you know, as good as he is. And then when I saw him play, I mean, I wasn't worried for a bit that he'd play bad or anything.
Go! Woohoo! Nice. Dude, they're actually just a one-trick pony. Like, if they don't get.
Look at that trident damage, dude.
I'm gonna go pee.
Just bro.
It felt weird at first, obviously, because, you know, at first it was still kind of like the coach going to solo lane. Like it didn't feel like the solo laner for the team yet at first. But then after like a week or two, you know, when it got to the point where we played SPL, you know, he kind of made his statement like, you know, I'm the solo laner for this team.
I mean, winning felt really good. Felt more satisfying than winning as a coach did. That's just because you have a little bit of detachment from results as a coach, because we go through a lot to really like put into the work. Obviously, like the big tournaments, MSI and Worlds, you have a lot of attachment to those results, but SPL not so much, especially when we're already qualified for Worlds. But winning, even though we're already qualified for Worlds, felt great as a player. But then going back, seeing Twitter, seeing comments in Mixer chat, seeing DMs from people, and just watching the games back made me feel better about the win than actually winning in the moment did, just because of how nice people were and how supportive of this change we made. So it really validated us, as if we weren't validated enough through our own practice. It really validated us for the decision we made.
Wait, kill Alec! Knocked up. Nice.
No belly 7.
Ah, what you just said?
And done.
Yeah, you wanna kill that, bro?
Kill that, bro.
No belly.
Oh, he killed you, baby.
Kill Joshy? Kill Joshy?
I'm killing the Titan, boys.
This is how we do it. Top goal time. Let's go.
Loyal Q, then top goal.
Actually.
When the change was first suggested, it was just first suggested as Deathwalker mid. Zeros was in the middle lane at the time. There was nothing more to it. There was obviously, you know, me going to solo came up later in the conversation, and that's what we went with. But immediately when Deathwalker suggested that he go mid, it started like just like thinking about it in my brain and just like, you know what, this could work. He's an aggressive player. He's a very adaptive player. I've seen the gods that he can play that would fit the current meta, so it's kind of fortunate that he was already a puzzle piece that fit in that puzzle. But he's even surpassed those expectations. You know, he's a very aggressive player. He knows the role more than I or anybody else expected him to. So I couldn't have asked like for anything more from Deathwalker. He's doing things that I wouldn't have thought of doing, and like well beyond my knowledge of the game. So I have nothing to criticize him for at all.
I don't know, I'm just super happy with the role. It's really fun. It's different. You don't get as much farm though, but you don't even notice it too much until you actually press tab. It's just really fun to be able to do something with someone at all times. You know, whether it be a Milzy or adapting, someone's always going to be mid. It's mostly a Milzy, but like it doesn't matter. Someone's going to be mid, and we can always look to do something together. You know, it's just so much more fun than being alone on an island and not being able to do anything.
Right now, I think we're still in the honeymoon phase. I think if you asked any of them, if Worlds was tomorrow or the next day, we feel like we're pretty poised to win. But realistically, there's a long time between now and Worlds. Not a long time, but there's a fair amount of time. Things will change between now and then, and one of those changes is that our honeymoon phase will drop off, or you would think it would drop off. So we have to be prepared for that, and just keep focused on the end goal. We can't get complacent because other teams are going to focus down even harder than they are now. So the challenge is just beginning, really. We're at the bottom of the mountain, we've still got to climb.
No, I don't think I'm worried at all. I think it's debatable whether or not it is a honeymoon phase. There are pretty clear things indicating that it is, you know, like roster, every time any roster change happens, people tend to perform better because they just want to get used to each other, you know, just get better faster. But I think right now, like this roster change to what everyone agreed on and how everyone's been performing lately, I don't think is just like a phase. I think this will last until the end of the season or, you know, whatever happens afterwards. But I think the way this team works right now is unmatchable in terms of mentality and attitude and just like morale. Everyone is just really happy right now. Like, I don't think I've ever seen us be this happy and like kind of loosened up throughout the whole year. I feel like nobody's even stressed out anymore.
After the United and SSG games, obviously those changes happened pretty quickly. Those changes benefited us in like two major ways, where I put people in roles, myself and Adrian, in roles that fit the meta, on gods that fit the meta. That was like an instant change that we knew would work, that would be a positive straight away. But metas change over time, so that's a part of the honeymoon phase where it's not going to last forever, or it may last forever, but it's no guarantee. But the one that will last forever, and that's been even more beneficial, is that we've transformed into this more positive team that's way more productive in scrims. We produce not only better results, but a better learning environment as well. Even in losses, or even just like some of the troll games that we have, there's always points after that someone can make, of little things that we can focus on and little things that we can do better. So to have that advantage in this team roster is such a huge change to what we had before, whereas if we had a loss before, it was just kind of a stain on the day. It was such a negative environment and nobody wanted to be there. Nobody wanted to criticize each other because nobody wanted to even think about what just happened. No one wanted to analyze themselves because people were just blaming each other for the smaller mistakes that were irrelevant. So to have this team environment where everyone is so self-critical and everyone is so, I don't know, productive in everything that they do, it just puts us on the right track for improvement and in the end, hopefully victory.